What is up, gamers? Building optimal decks in Riftbound is very expensive right now. It's one of the few things preventing people from jumping into the game straight away. This video will take you through 4 different decks within various budgets that you might fall under, and it will be specifically for Kai'Sa.
Are you the hunter or the prey?
First up, we'll look at a $10 build that has a lot of the core components you want in this deck. But before that, let's talk about a legend Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa reads that it can exhaust itself as a reaction to add 1 power, but you can only use this power to play spells. Kai'Sa is essentially a walking seal that can be used as any color. The strong thing about it is that Kai'Sa rarely has to recycle its runes in order to cast its strong spells, while every other deck has to, unless if they play seals. Because of this, we can be a bit more aggressive about the types of spells we are playing compared to other decks. Our 2 main ones are Hextech Ray and Void Seeker, being action speed spells that deal damage to units at a battlefield. Hextech Ray, being a consistent 1 energy deal 3 to a unit at a battlefield, is a lot stronger compared to having to recycle 1 in the process. And Void Seeker deals 4 and also replaces itself with 3 energy. Utilizing these 2 spells, you're able to control the game early and punish the opponent if they try to be aggressive against you. Outside of those, we are also playing Falling Comet, which does 6 damage to any unit at a battlefield. So within the deck, we are playing 9 pieces of hard removal that just deal damage to something and kills it, but we're also playing a bunch of combat tricks in here, like Smokescreen, which gives -4 might to something, Cleave, which gives Assault 3 to a unit this turn, and Stupefy, which reduces a unit by 1 might, but also draws a card. This gives us 18 pieces of either removal or combat tricks in order to help win combats throughout each and every turn. Because of this, we also want a bunch of units we want to be able to play early game, so then we can use them in tandem with this removal and combat tricks. So we're playing 3 Ravenbloom Student, which is our best 2-drop in the deck, which gets +1 might for the turn every time you play a spell. Very quickly, Ravenbloom Student can start getting into high power thresholds between each and every turn. And even after utilizing cards like Cleave, which puts it to 6 might by itself, you're still able to reduce the opponent's might utilizing Stupefy and Smokescreen as well. We have Watchful Sentry, which is just a good draw piece within the deck, and we also have Legion Rearguard, which has Accelerate. Because a lot of the time we're not spending any power for our spells, we can access cards with Accelerate a lot easier compared to before. In this spot, you could also play Pouty Poro, which I think that's a better option the higher price you get, but at a lower budget, we still need more ways to get things on the board quickly. For more of our draw engine, we're playing Consult the Past, which is just a draw 2 spell, and Progress Day, which is a draw 4 spell. We're also playing 3 Lecturing Yordle, which draws a card and has tank. And then for some of our big guys, we are playing 3 Blazing Scorcher for the same reason as Legion Rearguard. It's just a bigger guy. And 1 Mega Mech because it's kind of awkward to deal with this. It is above rate because it's a 7 cost 8 might unit. And because we're rarely recycling our runes, we're able to get to 7 costs pretty quickly. And it can combat things like Darius, which puts itself to 7 might. Because 7 is the might threshold that a lot of decks try to achieve to dodge Falling Star. Mega Mech being an 8 beats a lot of those, while it itself is able to dodge Falling Star as well. And then lastly is our champion unit Kai'Sa Evolutionary. It's a 6 cost 6 might with ganking, and when I conquer, you may play a spell from your trash with energy costs less than your points without paying its energy cost. Then you recycle it. You still have to pay the power cost of the spell, but it is still a very fantastic ability since we have a lot of cheap spells within the deck itself. Being able to reutilize Void Seeker, Hextech Ray, or Stupefies can be very powerful. For our battlefields, we're playing Grove of the Godwillow, Voidgate, and Reaver's Row. Grove of the Godwillow is just a very strong generic battlefield. Since we're able to remove threats that try to contest us, being able to hold and have Grove of the Godwillow draw us more cards to refuel our hand is very strong. Voidgate is used in tandem with our 9 hard removal spells and allows them to hit things bigger than normal. Lastly is Reaver's Row, which could be interchangeable with really whatever you want. The reason why it's strong in here is because it allows you to bring back your Kai'Sa Evolutionary after it conquers, and then the opponent tries to combat that battlefield the next turn. Then you can move Kai'Sa back to your base, and then you use Kai'Sa again to try to conquer, so then you can replay a spell from your trash on that following turn. Moving on from there, we have the $50 build. A lot of this deck looks the same, but there are a few key differences, primarily with Falling Star and Singularity. Both of these spells do something very impactful compared to all the other removal we have, which is that they can shoot units in the opponent's base. Falling Star is able to deal 3 damage to 2 things, or you can deal 6 damage to 1 thing. So against decks that tend to want to play low to the ground and a lot of small stuff, so things like Jinx, get really hurt by this card, and can also stunt the opponent's early game very early on. And then Singularity is more of a late game version of this, where you're able to shoot a lot bigger things with it. And because of Kai'Sa's legend ability, you're able to do these for 1 power instead of the normal 2, which makes these a lot stronger compared to normal. This is why we don't see these cards in many other decks outside of Kai'Sa, because Kai'Sa is able to make these just 1 power, which makes these cards very strong compared to everything else. Now the other route you can go is instead of going for Falling Star, which is about $10 to $12 a piece, you can go with Darius Triferian, which is in that same price range as well. Darius says that whenever you play your second card each turn, he gets +2 might and you can ready him. If you go this route, then your top end becomes a lot stronger because instead of having Blazing Scorcher, which is a 5 that costs 6 to accelerate it, you have Darius, which costs 5, but can also be ready the turn it's played and be 7 mites compared to Blazing Scorcher's 5, making it able to beat things a lot easier. If you go this route, then you would replace Falling Star with Shakedown instead, which a lot of the time gives this deck a lot more draw power to dig through your deck to find more cards. So the $50 build can be interchangeable between either the Falling Star variant or the Darius variant. This brings us to our $100 variant, where you play both Darius and Falling Star. The combination of these 2 cards together is really powerful by having Falling Star be a way to stop the opponent's early game, and then Darius be a very strong late game piece to try to close out games. And then lastly is the $200 variant. Anything above this is just gonna really spike in price, because we're missing Time Warp, Acathian Rain, and the Red Kai'Sa. But the big primary difference is that we're able to play Thousand-Tailed Watcher in here now. Thousand-Tailed Watcher is a 7 cost 7 might unit that has Accelerate and says when you play me, give enemy units -3 might this turn to a minimum of 1. Thousand-Tailed Watcher is a massive board breaker in this deck. Another thing with it is that it does lower the opponent's might, so that does make your kill spells work a lot better. So if the opponent has 2 6 might things in play, you can play Thousand-Tailed Watcher and then play Falling Star and shoot both of those 6 might things for 3, which would kill them because they drops down to 3 might. Now if you want to upgrade this deck any further, then you should be looking into Acathian Rain, Time Warp, and Kai'Sa Survivor. Kai'Sa Survivor would be the ideal champion for this deck, so if you go anything beyond this, I would recommend picking up one of those first. And that is all for this video. If you found this helpful, then please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one.